You are now seeing the dawn of a new era where the torture is medieval, the enemy barbaric, and the consequence to your freedom enormous. What this country faces is not just a threat, it is a reality. No longer free and easy or live and let live. And now you must adapt to this frightening new reality. To them, we're the great Satan. To them, we're the infidels. And them includes now radicalized Americans arrested here as lone wolves, one charged with the killing of 4 Americans. Last week in Australia, a plot to horrify and shock the public with planned beheadings. And this week, an Oklahoma man beheads a woman, completely decapitates her. And then he's in the midst of attacking yet another woman with a knife when he is stopped. That man, 30-year-old Alton Nolan, a recent convert to Islam. Now, Nolan visited a mosque whose former leader reportedly had ties with al-Qaeda mastermind Anwar al-Awlaki. And until we put the fear of God in them, they're going to keep coming. We can't negotiate with them. We can't trade with them. We can't let them out of Guantanamo. In fact, even Guantanamo is too good for them. And I don't personally care what the rest of the world thinks of us. Until we get this country back on track with our military superiority, the hallmark of a strong and a free nation, then our enemies will continue to attack us as lone wolves or as legion. Yes, we are a free and open society. But I've told you before that because of that, we're spoiled. We don't know from beheadings and public crucifixions and suicide bombers. And we don't know the pain of being forced out of our homes because of our religious beliefs. And because of that freedom, we are at even greater risk. So what do? It's time for Americans to realize it's us against them, to come together as a nation, to forget about the political lines that separate us. We have to start treating these cases as war crimes, not simple prosecutable felonies. We can start by calling things what they are. When a Fort Hood shooter guns down his fellow soldiers, yelling Allahu Akbar with a business card that says Soldier of Allah, and who communicated with that same Awlaki, it's not workplace violence, it's terrorism, and he's a terrorist. And I don't want to hear the acting head of the CIA tell me that he took the word Islamic out from front of the word extremist because he didn't want to inflame passions. And I don't want the word jihad scrubbed from the FBI training manuals. And I don't want to hear that ISIS is not an Islamic state any more than the USA is not the United States of America, or that we're not states, or that we're not united. And I'm tired of taking out ads to apologize to other religions while our government drags and sues the Little Sisters of the Poor to the United States Supreme Court for simply expressing their religious beliefs. I'm tired of the charades, and yes, I am angry. And you need to get angry. Our worst fears might very well be here. And it's time we started thinking proactively, getting ahead of the curve, not waiting for disasters to happen. Whether they're in our schools or in our malls or in our homes, we need to think about how we protect us, how we protect Americans. First, close the borders, period, end of the story. And I don't want to hear any hogwash about how people can have a better life if they come here. Our FBI director this week talked about Americans fighting alongside ISIS. Not only must they be stopped from coming back to the U.S., they have to be stripped of their citizenship for good. And maybe we can take some lessons from Israel, a country that has long lived in the shadow of terrorist threats and strikes. We can use technology to erase racial profiling concerns with airport kiosks that sense body temperature, blood pressure, and heart rate. responses to questions that can then subject the flyer to secondary screening. And stop, please stop with the gun control. The second woman attacked in Oklahoma didn't lose her head, did not lose her head, because an off-duty sheriff's deputy used his gun and shot the attacker. And I don't care what the rest of the world thinks of us. And I'd wager a guess that you don't care what people in other parts of the world think of us. I suspect that you, like me, care about the safety and security of your family. And it's not going to happen until you realize the world is different, the rules are different, and the consequences are enormous. And that's my open.